Today we are behind the scenes at a real wedding day on the Canon R6, and all the images you're going to see are edited automatically through Imagen. Oh, that was the intro, but now we're just into the video. Here we go. First photo. You can get your cat, if you have a cat or a dog, you can get the cat or dog's face printed on socks, which I didn't know about until this wedding day. And it's truly incredible. As I mentioned in the intro, all of the images you're going to see, they are all edited with Imagen. And what Imagen is basically, I'll do a demo at the end, but basically you put everything you want in a Lightroom catalog, you flag it, you start, you do whatever, and then you upload it to them, and they just process all of the images exactly as you would have and send them back to you. In my experience, it's about a 95, maybe 98% accurate edit. There are some images that I have to go in and tweak, but if you are using your profile, you basically re-upload those tweaks to them, and then your profile learns what it could have done better, and next week your profile is going to be better. It's going to be even more accurate. It's going to be even closer to 99, 100%. For the gears of the day, I have on my camera right now the 70-200 f2.8 RF, and then I also have, you saw it in the beginning, the 35 f1.8, which is another lens I love, and the 85mm f1.4 Samyang will come out during the reception. I also have with me the 50mm f1.8 RF, and I think that's all. I might have the 16, but I don't use the 16 today. 16 I find is too wide, and this was slightly before the 24mm f1.8 came out. So my current Canon kit, if I was to put it back together, I would say either the 35 or 24 on one camera body, and then maybe the 85 Samyang or the 70-200 on a second camera body, or if you want to go to the RFs, you can go with the 50 1.2 or the 85 1.2, depending on what focal length you prefer. You could also go for the zooms. The 28-70 is great, but it's so heavy. I did a review on that on the channel, and I love the lens. I love everything that comes off of it. It does suffer from some weird technical issues, I guess, that I don't see in any other Canon lenses, but the versatility in having an f2 is quite incredible through that entire zoom range. Cat socks getting some more exposure dollars here, and we're doing a majority of the family photos before the ceremony, which is great. I would say 50% of my couples do something similar. 50% do a first look for sure, and then maybe of those 50%, maybe 15-20% do all of the family photos before as well. If everyone's can be at one location, it essentially allows my couple to join for cocktail hour and to be significantly more present on their wedding day with their guests, which is very important to some couples and medium important to others. And if it's medium important, then typically we do maybe first look photos, maybe wedding party photos prior to the ceremony, but we leave the family photos till after. There's also a logistical thing where if all family can't be here, we may have to do family photos after the ceremony because everyone will be at the ceremony and we can easily do them afterwards. Sorry that my thumb is the biggest thing on the screen right now. I try to consciously not do that, but I am shooting a real wedding, and the behind the scenes is definitely one of the more least of my concerns when I'm running GoPro like this. It's one of the reasons I like running this style, because I can just hit on and I can actually just go and do the job. Another thing to be super conscious of if you're doing photos before the ceremony is to not do anything too risky with a white dress, like mud, grass. I'm a little bit nervous and try not to move them too much. If you follow the channel, you know my style is usually very movement-based, so I'll have the couple walking a lot. But prior to a ceremony, I will keep people more stationary and on usually more paved surfaces rather than grass, and then being careful to go over and actually step on the grass that you're going to put people, so make sure it's not just, too wet, or even go over and touch with your hand and show that you're going the extra mile for your couples. They'll appreciate it. Same goes for if you ever make anyone sit on a bench, go and test that bench to make sure it's not going to rub off at all on a dress. Here's a photo of the guys. Guys walking is always the easiest guys shot. Make them stand, get that simple straight on photo, and then just have them walk towards the camera and pretend that you don't exist. And maybe one other helpful tip for if you are doing photos before the ceremony and it's just with the couple is to see if a bridesmaid or a friend could be available to kind of help out in terms of styling the dress and just doing the things that maybe it's nice to have a second pair of eyes on everything, and also a second pair of eyes on somebody that actually knows the people getting married so that they're able to be like, oh, she doesn't really like when this happens. And they've probably been a part of the wedding planning process for the year leading up to this. So if there are any photos that she knows that the couple would want, or maybe that they didn't communicate to me, she's able to kind of step in and help out with those. So I found it to be very beneficial over the past couple of years. Now moving into the ceremony, beginning with a few establishing shots, 70-200. I enjoy shooting wider shots with a more telephoto lens by moving back and getting perspectives that maybe you normally wouldn't get, that you can walk up to any building and shoot with 24, but what does it look like when you take a bunch of steps back and shoot it at 70? I think that it looks a little better usually. Here's a photo of a lamppost. Please enjoy. Going up to the ceremony, at this point in the day, I will remain on my 70-200. Usually I'm not on my 70-200 right now, but today, a little bit of a different day, I guess. And the benefit of a lens like this is that you're able to zoom all around and get all the candids you need without actually getting awkwardly close to people and letting them know that you're just taking their photo, that you can get everything you need from way over here. And I prefer that. I get a lot of candids whenever there's good light. I will always kind of double down on my time. So I know there's going to be good light here. And I know that once we get inside, the light is it'll still be fine, but it's going to be better out here. So I do my best to get all the candid coverage that I can kind of up front in case I can't get any later. Or if today I've already done all the family photos, but sometimes you can't get to cocktail hour. And if you are there alone, it becomes a bit of a problem to actually get candids from the day. I think they're important. I don't know if your couples believe that also, but I think it's a kind of a key piece of the wedding day when you're there alone as a photographer and there's no video team. I want to do my best to kind of document most, if not all of the people that were there, at least in one or two photos. And I think that's the correct mindset to be in when you're essentially there to kind of document the day, document the family, document all of the people that are involved in their lives and have been involved in their lives up until this point. So everyone that's there is important, and they should all be part of the permanent wedding gallery. I will also say the IAF of all cameras now make this part of the day incredibly easy. It used to be you'd be staring through people down your lens, and when they look at you, you get a little uncomfortable. I find it a little bit easier to shoot from the LCD and get these images, and I feel a little less invasive into people's lives. I also tape the front of my cameras typically. So Canon, I guess the lens is just white and it attracts a lot of attention. On other camera brands, the lenses are usually black, so they blend in a little bit. I tape off the logo, the Canon or Sony logo on the top of my camera, so that if somebody is kind of glancing and seeing me out the corner of their eye, that it's not a contrast point that their eye is going to look over at. If they do see it moving off in the corner and pointed maybe in their direction, with that small piece of gaff tape, I find that I can be a little bit more, fly on the wall. It's a really stupid term. I'm going to stop using it right now. That's the last time I use that term, fly on the wall. I would say that this is kind of the ceremony lens, or this was my ceremony lens. If you've seen any of the Sony A7 IV videos or A7 R5 video that I guess came out a couple weeks ago, and there'll be a few more of them on the channel. I use the Tamron 35-150 for ceremonies, and I believe that to be the perfect lens for wedding ceremonies. If you are not a Sony shooter, I would say a 70-200 is more that perfect lens. It gives you all the versatility you need. You can get close-ups like this, maybe even closer. That's probably at like 150. There we go, all the way to 200. And you can get that shot, but you can turn around, you get a bit of a wider shot, something more environmental. If you are in a space like this, it works very well. If you are in a smaller environment, there's a few that have been on the channel that you have to use a 35 at the ceremony. So going into the day, you have a rough idea of what lens you're going to use, but sometimes that changes. Sometimes that changes in a dramatic way. Today though, pretty easy for lighting in here. The hard part is that the backlight is quite extreme, as you see there, that you can kind of expose for both, and you can bump up the shadows in post and bring down the highlights, but it starts to look a little too HDR. So I do let the background go a little bit intentionally. I will also shoot this camera on C-RAW most of the time, so compressed RAW. In a situation like this is one of the times that I will actually switch back to regular RAW, just so I have a little bit more data in there. I don't actually know if I haven't run the math, but I think it's just kind of best case when you're shooting in an environment that you know you're gonna have to do some work on the files to shoot the actual RAW file and not a compressed RAW version. I also have a full post-wedding workflow video up on the channel as well. And one of the things that I think is going to be interesting in early 2023 is that Imagen is going to be offering culling as well. So automated culling, that it's going to make the best selects for you, and then you can edit everything all in one place. And for it to all be one solution, I am very excited for that, rather than bouncing between programs or going back into Photo Mechanic or going from Lightroom to another system to eventually Imagen. You can just do it all on the Imagen platform, which I'm very, very excited for. In the workflow video, you'll notice that I do a final step also. So after I get the JPEGs back from Imagen, I will actually run them through skin softening. So I do automated skin softening through a program called Portraiture. And what that does is it just, I don't know, it makes people appear a little bit more how they feel that they look in real life. So it gives just that, it's not a full retouch, but it's maybe a 60 or 61% retouch in the case of the video that I did. It's a 61% retouch on everyone. So any person's face that is in a frame somewhere, it will do skin softening on them. If the program detects no person in the frame, it won't touch the image. So I run that on every single image in every single gallery. I also do something, it's on the channel, it's called the 98% trick, where you just squish everything width only by 98%. And it makes people, so I shoot a lot, as you can see, on the 7200 or an 85 or a 50, and it makes people a little bit wider than they are maybe in real life, or certainly wider than they look when they look in a mirror and they see themselves, because they're looking more from maybe a 35 or maybe a 24. I don't know what vision millimeter is, but they see themselves one way and then they see themselves shot with an 85, and it definitely changes the way that they look. So I do my best to kind of get rid of a little bit of that by doing the 98% squeeze. Another thing I do is that at some point in the wedding day, I will usually tell people that if they want photos with anyone, they want photos with family, with friends, with their significant others, to just flag me down, usually during cocktail hour, and I'm happy to do those photos for them. You can also go the other direction, where this is what my friend Tim does, that he'll just walk around within the reception and just ask people to get together for photos, people that look like they're together, and he kind of opens up that dialogue. I just tell people that if they want that, let me know. I got a lot of stuff going on throughout the day. So if they want that, I'm the only shooter there. At some point during cocktail hour, when they see me just roaming around, flag me down. I'm happy to come do that photo, and it will be part of their gallery. This isn't to make extra money or anything to sell them the digital file. My clients have all access to all the digital files. This is simply to make a better experience, both for my couples, for their families, for the friends, for the people that are in the wedding party that maybe they're getting married. When they see that the experience is good, they see that the gallery of images is great, and that I'm just generally a nice person that's not out to scam them. Usually that turns into a lot more referrals internally from each wedding that you shoot at. You can also go above and beyond when it comes to referrals, and you can do things like day of slideshows, or I think Vanessa Joy gives her couples an iPad with a slideshow of images while they're eating dinner for them to enjoy. And if you're not doing it yet, I would recommend sending a few preview files maybe the day after the wedding, because everyone's going to update their profiles and they're going to post photos from their wedding day. And I would rather the guests and family members see my images first, rather than just a random cell phone collection of images from the day. I also believe that this will increase your referrals significantly, not only for people that are there, but people just sharing the wedding photos of a wedding that happened a couple of days ago. Everyone has heard horror stories about that took the wedding photographer 75 months to get the final gallery to people. And when you can at least have something to the couple the next day, it doesn't have to be everything, even just 3 photos, 2 photos, 1 photo of the couple. You can post on your Instagram and share it to them and get them to reshare if you want. But to give them something from their wedding day within a couple of days after the wedding, I think is becoming increasingly more important every single year. You can now see the vignette on that Samyang 85 1.4. When shot at 1.4, I like the vignette. I feel like it frames it nicely. And we're getting into that awkward time of day where it's kind of blue hour-ish outside, but it hasn't yet become full incandescent everywhere. I will likely deliver a lot of these photos in black and white as well. I'll show you the color versions that came from Imagen, but I'll usually go through and I'll pull a few black and white edits. You could also, if you're going to be making a lot of images in the gallery black and white, you could flag all the ones that you want to make black and white with maybe a 3-star or something, and you can set it back through one of the Imagen black and white. There's a black and white profile now that you could use, or you can build your own black and white profile if you want. Or if it's lighter weight, like I'm going to make maybe 20 or 30 files into black and white, you can just go through and quickly duplicate them in Lightroom. Using a newer, I usually use the Godox V1, today using the 863, and I know that there's going to be a bit of a dance troupe coming in, so I get a little bit wider. Usually the more energy that comes up, the wider my lens gets. So I'm going to shoot these on the 35, and because the dance group is going to be performing for the couple, I'm going to position myself behind the couple as I know that they're kind of the center point. In a case like this, if there is some sort of performance happening at a wedding day, usually you know about it prior to the wedding. This is, I would say, somewhat important if you are sitting outside of the room to know that something is going to be happening like this, because the first couple seconds is usually when everyone is the most excited, that if you're capturing candids of the guests, that is kind of the time to do it, or at the end of the performance. I will also say that you will massively overshoot every performance like this, and you'll come in with way too many photos. And the couple needs a few photos of the performance, but they don't need a full press collection of images of some people coming in to dance at their wedding, or to be a dragon, or wherever it might be. These images, because the light balanced correctly and they were in good quality of light at the podium there, I actually just used ambient. So that's an ambient photo, not using any flash. And I think it's important to have the flash in your camera and know when to use it and know when not to use it. That photos like this, I am just as happy, if not more happy, with the ambient than I would be had I added additional light. So that is all for the wedding. Let's head into editing. All right. Here we are. To edit these photos, thanks for sticking around. I'm going to be editing them in Imagen. So what you do is you build a Lightroom catalog, you put everything you want in it, you then close Lightroom. In Imagen, you have your choice to either use a profile that has been built for you. So this is a profile that one of their talents has built, and they've added their thousands and thousands of images to make it really nice and good. Or you can build your own. It's your choice. I would say if you're just giving Imagen a chance for the first time, go with one of the profiles that already exists, like Warm Skin Tones, or maybe Susan Stripling's is also they're all very, very good. But I found at least Warm Skin Tones and Susan Stripling's, which I believe is called Clean and Crisp, fit my work the best. And what I'm looking for in that case is kind of a straight vanilla-ish edit. So I want all of the exposure correct, all of the white balances correct, and then I add my preset on top. Whereas if I'm working with my own profile, which you've been seeing in this video, everything just comes back pretty much ready to go. So you come in here, recent catalogs, L and G. And if you're working from one Lightroom catalog and you have a bunch of different folders in it, it will show them all down here. I use a different catalog for each of my weddings just to keep things a little bit more organized. Straightening. This is worth using Imagen on its own if you're somebody that shoots all the family photos on like a little bit of a slant. I don't know why I do that, but I'm always at kind of that 1 degree slant. So I click the straight button. You can also crop. It's a very interesting, it will go through how you crop your images, and it will emulate what you would have done in that situation, which is really crazy. I shoot mostly what I want my crop to be in camera, so I don't really bother too much with that, but straightening is incredible. And these are all just your options for if you've starred things, if you've done your entire cull in Lightroom. After this, you click add and you upload. And what it will do is it'll actually build you little tiny DNGs. So as it uploads, you'll see a little DNG converter down here. So it makes smaller versions of these files to send to Imagen. So you're not uploading the entire gallery, you're not uploading all the raw files, you're uploading significantly smaller versions of each of those raw files. So it only takes a couple of minutes usually to upload. And in my experience, usually it takes somewhere between about 5, 6, 7 minutes to upload an entire gallery. And you'll typically get the gallery back and edited within about maybe 10 minutes after that. That is my experience. I don't know if they quote a specific time for turnaround, but usually round trip is about 20 minutes total. And when your edits are ready, you'll get an email, and they'll also show up right here. So right now we are in the review stage. So you download to review. So what it did there was it just downloaded the edits quickly, and you click open Lightroom catalog. So here we are, all the edits done. And if you do want to go through and you want to modify things, so say you think this is a little bit too bright, or maybe it's not bright enough and you want to make your edits, what you do is you do that, you close Lightroom, make all your edits and everything, and then you actually go back into Imagen and you go to upload final edits. And what this does is it will fine tune your profile. So whatever you've changed in this, it will continue to modify and develop your profile to get better and better and better. So every single week, your profile is going to get better and more accurate to exactly what you want in all conditions. Thanks for watching. If you want 1,500 free edits, there's a link in the description to head on over to Imagen and give it a shot. Start with one of the talent profiles, see if it works for you, and then build out your own profile and make this part of your workflow, because it really is saving photographers thousands and thousands of hours, maybe millions of hours. I don't know. They should do some math on that and tell the industry how much time they've saved for photographers in editing. Thanks for watching. Any questions, put them in the comments below, and I will see you again next time.